Welcome to a new episode of Solar Minutes. So today we're gonna talk about track roll reduction and the decision tree. So if you manage a solar portfolio and you're running dispatching tracks based on SCADA alarm colors, you're guaranteed to be burning money this year. Not in theory, in our numbers. We have done the numbers, we've done the research. So if you have a portfolio, a fleet or over 30 megawatts, severity-based triage could be worth for you 100,000, even more, in avoidable losses every single year by unnecessary track rolls, missed partial derates, hidden fault that never ever trigger any alarm. And the worst part, your SCADA critical, major, minor levels were probably set by integrator at commissioning and most probably never touched again. So in this episode, I'm going to show you what happens when you flip that logic completely from we screaming loudest in your SCADA to which fault costs us the most per hour if we do nothing. You will see exactly the track load reduction decision tree we use internally with the objective to cut from 20 up to 30% of the track rolls, shrink the false alarm to under 5% and recover hundreds of thousands, if not more, based on the portfolio size. So here is why you should stay for the full video here. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to look at any fault ticket and answer two questions your SCADA cannot answer right now. What is the cost of inaction per hour on this fault? And does this issue deserve a track roll, a remote fix, or no action at all today? Once you will see how different your dispatch decision look through that lens, you'll never let a 2019 severity matrix run your 2026 portfolio game. So if you're serious about cutting track rolls, killing false alarm, tuning your OM team into a revenue protection unit, please do not skip this one. So let's rebuild the logic together from the ground up. As you might note, our format, so basically what we do, I normally talk over a PDF. So you might see my screen. This document can be requested. So if you want to, by the end of this episode, if you want to request this PDF, please comment with your email. My team will share it with you. So the problem of the triage, there is a widespread and expensive problems across OM portfolio today. I think we are aware of it, which rarely shows up in your system. So it really depends on the type of system. Maybe you just invest in the newest, fanciest, advanced AI OM monitoring system. But if you are still relying on the traditional site, this conversation might be the usual you're having with the OM site manager, which is how do you decide which fault to prioritize? Normally, I would say, okay, whatever the SCADA is detecting, right? So we set those severity levels, made the SCADA integrator at commissioning, and was really 7 years ago. Has anything changed? Most probably nothing. Maybe the PPA rates, you had some BAS, you switch inverter OEM on site 5. So you hire more people. This should be a potential similar situation. So what does it mean? You're still running in 2026 a matrix of 6-7 years ago. What is the problem of SCADA and why might not help you in making decision in terms of track rolls? Those alarms and those are the research from my team has confirmed 90% revenue leaks triggered 0 alarms before the money is gone, because the system was calibrated to detect our failures, no financial erosion. If your SCADA, maybe once something is failing, you might be aware. The thing is, a lot of problems are coming once the systems start degrading a lot. 10% string inverter, which are not detectable right now, could be the beginning of financial loss. So the consequence, as you know, might be really severe based on the condition. Per megawatt, we can go from 3.5 up to $5,000-$6,000 per year annually per megawatt. And an optimized OM, as you know, right now the cost, there is a huge high cost pressure with thin margin, is to optimize the operating model, which if you have a traditional approach, you might have even higher cost by 30-40% compared to the predictive approach. So what changes after commission? So basically, if you have those things have been set by commissioning, you never change them. Let's look back at what has changed since the commissioning. So if your site has 5, 6, 7 years, You might be even reconsidering a repowering or even a bidding event. You want to sell the asset, which is reasonable. A lot of things have changed. So let's look at those variables. And every variable actually determines true financial cost of a fault and how it evolves after the plant goes live. So PPA, merchant rate, for sure, it doesn't matter which markets you are in. Things are evolving, they're changing. And the financial impact of a fault at $90 or euro per megawatt could be twice more expensive than a $45 per megawatt hour. Fleet composition, you add new inverter, BESS addition, different failure modes, response times, spare parts logic, even financial logic, I will say. Team capacity, you might have a new technician, truck roll cost per dispatch changes, even this full logistic even of a piece right now with tariff or whatever is going on globally could change the whole picture. Plant age, degradation curve, swelling hotspot accumulation. I mean, you might be aware based on the site condition where it's located, this might erode and affects the degradation of your asset. One of the main, I will say, origin of degradation, repeat, is high temperature. So if your site is specific component, DC component is exposed to high temperature, please have a look. We had previous episode. This might affect the performance of the hardware. Grid constraints, control rules, export limits. There are terawatts of energy we are still waiting from the grid. The green light. So some megawatt hours losses are unrecoverable, others are not. A contractual obligation. We are moving slowly from available guarantees, performance bonds to some downtime carries, liquidated damage. What is the truck roll reduction decision tree? So the following framework here, the objective is quite simple, is to replace whatever you had previously, which was most probably static, which most probably never adapt, or in a more dynamic approach, revenue-weighted decision logic. It is designed for portfolio managing over 20 megawatts actually, where actually it's more reasonable, the financial loss or even of the default could be reasonable enough in order for you to start implementing those. I repeat, we are driven by dollar losses. We're driven by cost reduction. We're not driven just by let's implement something where we know that people don't want to change, but people want to change once we show the numbers. So the first thing is, please have a look, quantify how many dispatch, how many per megawatt per year. If you're an O&M provider, if you're an IPP, I think you own the asset. It's in your interest even to reduce the bill from the O&M player. So please run those logics, run those numbers, run those calculations, and try to understand where you are starting off, the baseline, how much you are spending, the current cost, which I would say once you write down that number, it might push you to start changing. I repeat, this is just for thinking, I would say, together, but it's your final choice after to implement this. The first step is financial impact quantification. Before dispatch, not after. So this question we should answer is what is the cost of inaction per hour, which should be calculated as in the following way: revenue loss rate, which is equal affected capacity in megawatts, multiplied by current ratio, irradiance factor, multiplied by PPA rate, it's in dollars or euro per megawatt hour. On megawatt hour. An inverter fault affecting 1 megawatt capacity during peak production hours carries a fundamentally different revenue consequence than a string combiner issue affecting 50 kilowatts, right? During a low irradiance condition. So the fault label might read identical in a SCADA alarm log, but the financial reality is completely different, right? So I will say this is really important. So this bad decision shouldn't be made without a live revenue loss rate attached to the fault ticket. And why this is, I think it's really important. Maybe it's that, but you're quite aware that if you're running O&M across states, multiple departments, multiple area, logistics is expensive, it's costly, teams are not available, people are not that skilled with this issue. We know that there is a huge gap in the industry of qualified personnel. The objective should be, can we run those numbers and can we prioritize based on the highest loss? This is really important. So you can really start prioritizing based on how much you're losing rather than other condition. The fault progression risk assessment, the second dimension is not current loss, is actually projected loss escalation, because some faults are, we know, they could be stable and bounded, other can cascade. So evaluate means containment probability. Will this fault self-resolve, remain stable, or spread to an adjacent string on inverter? Equipment risk, doesn't inaction risk permanent component damage, thermal runaway impasse, PID propagation on a string array, warranty contractual exposure. Does the delay void an OEM warranty terms or trigger availability penalty clauses? So faults with high escalation risk and high containment probability, addressable now at low cost, should always jump to the queue regardless of a current severity classification. So what is track roll cost versus remote resolution probability? Not every fault requires a track roll. I think right now we have way more IoT, way more information, way more data to quantify, even take action, even remotely. So research of OM providers shows that reducing track rolls from an industry average of 6 per megawatt to 2 per megawatt saves approximately 3,000 per megawatt annually. And transformative cost reduction at portfolio scale. So remote reset viable, you should ask, decision gate. Criteria versus action. Inverter soft fault, communication drop, non-reset pattern. Action, execute remote reset, monitor for 50 minutes. Root cause diagnosable remotely, string level data available, weather correlated sensor fault, issue diagnostic work order, schedule next PM visit, the action. Dispatch justified on ROI, revenue loss rate, should be bigger than the track roll break-even cost. Dispatch with full fault briefing and parts pre-staging. Dispatch urgent, revenue loss rate should be higher, plus escalation risk should be higher than threshold, and should be in that case an emergency dispatch with SLA clock running. Crew capacity and route optimization. For viable, one almost never reflected in SCADA severity rules is the current team capacity. So a 280 portfolio managed by a technician operate entirely on a different dispatch economics than the same portfolio with a team of 10. So every track roll, and we do autonomously in our platform, for instance, must carry a higher ROI threshold. So capacity adjusted triage normally applies some dynamic multiplier to a dispatch threshold. So we should be full capacity, dispatch threshold equal track roll break-even cost, reduced capacity, which is dispatch threshold equal 1.5 break-even cost, low severity faults batch for next PM cycle. Critical shortage, dispatch threshold equal 2 times break-even cost. Remote first protocol activated, not for all the emergency faults. Recalibration cadence. This is the first step normally for the organization to skip entirely. And this is the root cause of the problem described in the opening conversation. So the fault triage logic must be treated as a living operational document, not a commissioning deliverable. And the recalibration schedule, the recommended recalibration schedule is trigger events should be PPA rate change, renegotiation, new asset addition, technician headcount change, annual fleet review, and post events. Recalibration required for PPA should be immediate. New asset addition within 30 days, technician headcount change, immediate adjust capacity multiplier and dispatch threshold, annual fleet review, full triage matrix adjust, audit against current performance baseline, and for post-event like storm, grid fault, major outage within 14 days. So it's updated for the fault frequency, priors, and the severity calibration. I'm not here actually how we do that, how we address this issue, because for us it's fully autonomous. The objective really of this episode was really to provide you with a framework. So if you want to request this document or you want to request a free audit of your cost, you might be capable of reducing that by a certain percentage, which might be reasonable based on the inefficiency of your current process and models, which I repeat, those things has been always set from the commissioning. So please don't take it personally. We see a lot of change comes from assuming, not put the ego in front of the problem, but actually behind, and start being a bit open in terms of adapting new methodologies and approaches. So what should be the recalibration checklist? If is your triage logic current, use the following checklist. PPA rates are fault financial impact threshold updated to the current contracted and merchant rates per site, team capacity. Does your dispatch logic account for current technician head count and average response time? Asset configuration. So your full taxonomy includes all current inverter OEMs, BESS, and tracker system on each site. Alarm threshold. Have your SCADA alarm rules have been reviewed since commissioning? False alarm rate. Do you know what % of your current alarm volume is phantom events? And hidden rate audit. Have you run a no alarm, high loss audit across your portfolio in the last 90 days? Track roll ROI should be, I think, the most essential KPI once all these numbers are clear, and escalation risk scoring should be there. So conclusion, the question for sure is really whether the team is working out or not. Is really you have the right process in place, you have the right procedures, and you are doing the things with the updated process, tools, and actual information and knowledge, which is available in 2026 versus maybe 10 years ago. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave your email. My team will share with you this PDF so you can run it by yourself. We're always available for a free audit with my team. And please pay attention. You might lose money. So either you want to implement any tool or new methodologies, but write down the number. Most probably you might optimize, reduce the cost this year, not next. So run those numbers and hope we helped you today. Have a nice day. Thank you.